With this flavor of cowpoke, not only will you have the fastest draw, but you will also have the fastest reload, faster even than using Marksman's Dodge. Your movement speed will be at its maximum, allowing you to flank and surprise the enemy faster than they can blink, so that you may blind them with your majesty like you are the desert sun while giving them a jolt before they even have time to recover. All while dealing 913% more damage with the bestest Yi that ever hawed. Our super, Gathering Storm, was chosen for the passive Big Boss damage. Blink is used for disengaging the enemy, as well as punching through enemy lines in certain situations, such as an onslaught. When running the rift, you can blink past everything for an easy dunk. On our other flavors of cowpoke, we went with Marksman's Dodge so that our dodge would reload our last word when we proc our lucky pants. However, my favorite thing about Arc Hunter is the dodge melee loop provided between Gambler's Dodge and Combination Blow. Gambler's Dodge refunds our melee when we dodge near enemies, and Combination Blow refunds our dodge when we get a powered melee kill. Combination Blow will also give us a small health bump and begin our health regeneration. Each melee kill will grant us a stack of bonus melee damage up to 3 stacks. The first stack grants a 60% boost, 2 stacks is 156%, and 3 stacks is 309%. For our quick reloads, instead of Marksman's Dodge, we will be stacking reload buffs from multiple sources. Flow State will make us amplified when we kill a jolted enemy. While we are amplified, Flow State will boost our class ability regen by 200%, grant us 66% damage resist while dodging, and most importantly, we will receive 50 points to our reload speed with a 0.8 duration multiplier. Spark of Frequency also grants us 50 points to reload speed with a 0.8 duration multiplier for 5 seconds when we score a melee hit. Spark of Frequency works even when we aren't amplified, so it can still boost us even when we aren't in our flow state. That said, since Spark of Frequency and flow state have a reload duration multiplier, they do stack with each other for additional benefits. Furthermore, we will be adding 1 kinetic loader to our arms for an additional 0.85 reload duration multiplier. With all 3 reload speed buffs active, our last word can be manually reloaded in just under 1 second, which is actually faster than Marksman's Dodge. In fact, even just a single kinetic loader mod almost matches the reload speed of Marksman's Dodge, as you can see here. Lethal Current will cause our melee hits on jolted enemies to apply blind. After dodging, Lethal Current boosts our melee lunge distance and causes our next melee hit within 10 seconds to apply Jolt, and release an Aftershock dealing 216 damage to enemies within 6 meters. Our Flashbang Grenade deals 690 damage and blinds enemies within 8 meters for 5 seconds. We are pairing our grenade with Spark of Shock so that it will also apply Jolt. This is great on higher end content because not only will the enemy no longer attack you because they are blinded, but you will also have an easier time cleaning up anything that wasn't wiped out by the initial explosion due to Jolt. Spark of Beacons will create a blinding blast when we get special weapon kills while we are amplified. Spark of Resistance will add to our survivability by granting us 25% damage resist when at least 3 enemies are within 15 meters of our location. Our lucky pants are fitted with an illegally modded holster. Upon readying a hand cannon, this holster will grant 100 points to handling and ready speed, which means we will have the fastest hands in the system. The holster will also reduce our accuracy cone size by 30%, which is a fancy way of saying it reduces bloom. Or, in other words, our bullets will have a tighter grouping, allowing us to have an easier time landing our shots. When we ready a fully loaded kinetic hand cannon, or one of an element matching our subclass, each hit we land within 5.5 seconds will increase our weapon damage by an additive 60%. This buff ramps up to a maximum boost of 600% after landing 10 shots. When the buff runs out, or if we swap weapons, then we will have to wait 10 seconds before we can trigger this effect again. There are a lot of great hand cannons to combine with our lucky pants, but none of them will give you a stronger YEEHAW than the last word. This 225 RPM kinetic beauty is at its finest when fired from the hip. Hip-fired hits will grant us stacks of fan fire. Each stack will grant us +5 reload speed and further increase our accuracy. You can obtain up to 4 stacks of fan fire, but all stacks are lost upon reloading or aiming down sights. All hip-fired precision hits with this weapon deal 30% more damage. For legendary weapons, we are running Path of Least Resistance with Volt Shot and Stats for All. My preferred heavy was my Hullabaloo with Volt Shot and Chain Reaction. For our armor, we want to prioritize Resilience and Discipline. Being amplified will boost our mobility by 50 points, so we can cap that at 50 so that we can bring up some of our other stats. We also don't need to worry about having max mobility for our dodge, since we can just get it back with a powered melee kill. Our helmet will have 1 harmonic siphon so that our legendary weapons print orbs, 1 dynamo so that dodging near enemies grants 2.5% super energy, and 1 hands-on so that we also get bonus super energy from our melee kills. On our arms, we will have the 1 kinetic loader we mentioned earlier to boost the reload speed of our last word. Then 2 impact inductions so we get 17% grenade energy from dealing powered melee damage. We can trigger this effect once every 7 seconds. On our chest, we will have 1 charged up mod so that we can have 4 stacks of armor charge. Then 1 melee damage resist so we take 15% less damage from enemies that are less than 4 meters away. On our legs, we have 1 recuperation for 70 health on orb pickups, then 2 kinetic surges to boost our last word's damage by 17% on top of our Lucky Pants buff. Finally, our class item will have 1 bomber for 12% grenade energy when we dodge, 1 powerful attraction so our dodges grab orbs within 12.5 meters, and 1 reaper so that after we dodge, our next weapon kill will print an orb. When entering combat, you have 2 options. Option 1. Begin your dodge melee loop by dodging so that your powered melee will apply Jolt. If the enemy dies, you will get your dodge back and can keep repeating the loop. If the enemy did not die, you can dodge to get your melee and then punch them again to blind them. Option 2. Throw your flashbang into the center of a group of enemies to blind and jolt them. Then switch to your arc special to clean up what remains. Your arc special will also continue to blind enemies as long as you remain amplified while getting your kill sprees. Both options should result in you becoming amplified, which will trigger all the nice effects from flow state, including 1 of the 2 buffs to reload speed from our abilities. Then punch an enemy to get the other reload buff from Spark of Frequency. When needed, you may now swap to Last Word to trigger your Lucky Pants buff and start unloading Last Word into the enemy. Once empty, manually reload and continue wreaking havoc with your Last Word. If this seems daunting to remember, the simplified version is dodge, punch, and shoot. Or throw grenade, punch, and shoot. The buffs will come automatically as long as you follow these patterns. During boss phases, begin by casting your super to apply Jolt and deal passive damage. Then, empty your heavy into the boss. You may not be able to maintain the amplified buff, but you can still trigger Spark of Frequency by punching the boss. Then, switch to the Last Word and empty your magazine. As soon as you shoot all 8 shots from the Last Word, manually reload it and then resume shooting your target. If you time everything perfectly, then you will have enough time to fire off all 16 rounds. If you are landing all of your shots, then the last 6 shots will each be dealing 600% more damage. If they are precision hits, they get a 30% boost from the Last Word, bringing the total boost up to 780%. Furthermore, with the 17% from our 2 kinetic surge mods, the total comes up to 913%. Thanks for watching. Have a good one, y'all.